Like I said, the opening statement I gave was not the one I expected to give. I was told a few minutes before we started that I wasn't able to give my opening statement. What I talked about, what I was allowed to talk about, was the fact that this was not a murder. If Andrew Gallo was the driver of that van, and if he was the one who ran the red light, we don't know those things yet. If those things are true, we have a manslaughter, not a murder.
For 30 years now in the state of California, people have been charged with murder and DUI fatalities. In fact, the case that DUI fatalities is based on is a 30-year-old case where the defendant had no prior history of drinking and driving.
Look, if there'd been a half a second difference and Courtney Stewart had run into the van and my client had passed away, still tragic. Nobody's life is worth more than anybody else's life. I'd be representing Courtney Stewart, and I would not be representing her on a murder. And the difference would be one thing: famous victim. Nick Adenhart wouldn't have been dead, and I'd be here on a manslaughter case.
Since 2008, our office has successfully prosecuted 10 DUI murder cases, 2 of which involved defendants with no prior history, none of which involved a celebrity.
Andrew Gallo was out celebrating, and he was being given drinks. I believe he even purchased some drinks the whole time, never expecting to drive. And in the days and weeks before that, he was never a driver. So at some point later, if his designated driver became too intoxicated to drive, that was not something that was in the mind of Andrew Gallo prior to drinking. We call that a pre-drinking intent to drive, and he didn't have it.
Mr. Gallo made multiple decisions to disregard the dangers of others. The dangers to others. He made multiple phone calls on his cell phone to his girlfriend, never asking for a ride, never calling a cab. He knew how to use the phone, he knew how to drink a beer, and he knew how to drive. Not well, but he knew how to drive.
Well, if he was the driver, and if he ran the red light, he's responsible for these deaths, no doubt about it. It's tragic. Nobody left home thinking that night that they wanted to kill anybody. Nobody even left home thinking that that was a possibility.